This is Out Loud and Laughing. Hello and welcome, Bryan. How are you today?
Oh, fine. How are you, Jon?
Thrilled now that I know that we're going to be recording the episode that literally changes the airline industry.
Literally. Literally.
Are your ears perked?
Just my ears.
What else? I was going to say, what else is perked?
Yes. I'm excited for this conversation because obviously June, you and I were flying so much, which is fun. We had a great June. We're exhausted, but we learned a lot about how much we love to fly, but really how much we hate people who fly with us.
Yeah, we did have a busy June. We did see a lot of airports, and we did stand around a lot of people who, with all of those factors involved, it's kind of like, is this everybody's first time?
Like, and everyone remembers their first time.
And
But
it only hurts the first time.
well, maybe the second
But
time, But
fair.
but I agree. I feel like when everyone's flying, it's as if they're flying for the first time.
It makes it really difficult to enjoy that part of the travel experience. And not necessarily just the airport. I think the airport, they've done things to streamline it. At least you could shop and walk and it's air conditioned. It's fine. You have space. It's the getting on and off an airplane, Bryan.
I agree.
That's
Okay.
what that's where I'm hung up. So I'm gonna let you take off.
No, I hopefully on time. I agree. I feel like there's airport culture where it's like people who go through security lines, it's a little lackluster. Some people just are a little messy, but I'm okay with that. I agree. I feel like everyone, including me, is very guilty, and I don't know why we do this. But somehow when you get through security, you just have to see your gate before you go get food and stuff. So everyone just walks to their gate, almost looks at it with a nod of approval, and then goes back to what they're doing. That's the weird airport culture thing. But then boarding and deboarding planes. Can we please unpack the chaos of it all?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to validate I do enjoy your like just checking out the gates, seeing where I'm at. And really I like to see who I'm up against, right? When I go to my gate, I see who's sort of like I'm gonna be flying with. I do a quick survey of who I need to look out for, but who I'm gonna be in like my zone, who's gonna be in my boarding zone.
Well, also
Which
who you hope sits next to you,
yeah, the wish list ensues.
which never happened.
But oh, no, no, no. You find the one you want to sit next to, and then you immediately find the one you don't want to sit next to, and that's who you're sitting next to.
Yeah, 100% every time.
But starting with like just waiting at the gate and then getting called up by zones. Can we just all agree that zones are fake? Like they say they're boarding zones, but somehow they call the first zone and half the plane is in line. And it just feels more like this performative ritual more than a functional process in my opinion.
Well, it's so funny because, yeah, you're totally right. But I was watching some SNL skit that really played this up really well. But basically, the amount of people, of cohorts of people that are called before they even call group one, like literally half the plane is already on board before they even call group one. Like everyone's just like,
Oh,
women with children. Okay. Pastors with nuns. Okay. Like literally every single other person but yourself.
if
And
you
you're like,
stubbed your
oh,
toe this morning, yeah.
right. And then you see a person with like just a wrap around their toe, like somehow they knew. Uh, Luckily for me, I'm a little bit of an airport slob. So I fight for
Tell us
status
more.
I fight for status every year because if I'm not at least group one, I get like hives. So I make sure I fly enough to keep my status. And if my boarding pass ever says group two or like higher or lower, um, I don't like it.
That is kind of snobby, so I will speak for the rest of us, who don't have status. Um, but I do pay. I do pay for all of the little trinkets of like first boarding, or I'll lie and tell them that I did stub my toe and I need to get on the plane first. I mean, there are
Data
ways around
flag.
it, y'all. You got to get creative. This is a place where human nature is on like just grand display, right? You see everybody
Yeah.
from the overly eager to the underprepared. Everybody's in line, so you kind of just have to bring your A game, really, in my opinion, regardless of what your status is. Your status has to be on that day. That's where I'm
It's
at.
it honestly every man for themselves because like when I used to board with the kids, Ollie was so young that I would let Adam board with Kenzie first, get our bags on there, and I would let Ollie run around the airport until we were the very last people to board. Because then the door closes, you take off. It's less time with the baby on the plane. But when I'm by myself, I want to be first on the plane. I want to get there. I want to sit. I want to just judge everyone walking by me. Like that's just my jam. Um, so I just feel like everyone just has their own priority. Because of that, it is a clusterfuck of boarding.
Um, that's really interesting. I like that little strategy you threw in there about waiting to board with the kids. I think
Yeah.
anybody out there can really take a lesson from that one. So thank you for that tip. So we're boarded from zone 1 to zone Z because they also don't make sense the way they sort of zone some of these things. You're looking at your boarding pass and you don't even know where to be. But okay, so Brian, take us through the process. We are on the plane. We are waiting to find our seat.
Oh well,
Now
that is the important one, John, because that is exactly what I want to bring up with you is how many times do you check your seat number before you even board?
uh I'm not gonna be hyperbole. I'm gonna say honestly, let's say between 10 to 15 times, just habitually, just looking, just
Just to check,
confirming, just
just to
reminding.
make
Yep.
sure. 100%. And then somehow, and I'm guilty of this, you develop amnesia. And right when you're boarding the plane, you have to look at your phone again to confirm your seat number. Everyone does it. Everyone gets amnesia. And somehow that makes the boarding process that much harder. All of a sudden, you knew it was 2A. And now when you board, you're like, am I 46C? I don't know.
It's, there's so many codes and numbers and things that we like, which gate we have to be at what time, and what our flight number is. And before we get to our gate, like the people who are picking us up on the other side are asking us what our flight information. There's a lot of information flowing through our brains. I'm going to give ourselves a little pass on that one. But yes, it definitely slows down the process. But my favorite is when people don't understand the icons on the top that match their seat. Like they can't
Yes.
they know what their seat number is, but they can't understand based off of the pictogram where that seat is.
Somehow they thought they knew when they were boarding it was window, but when they got to their seat, right, am I aisle? Because they don't understand those three. I agree. So
Yeah.
true. It's so true.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny.
And then everyone's looking at their phones again, looking at their tickets as if they've never sat on a plane before. They don't know where to go. They're like, is this aisle 2? Like, look up, you're at aisle 14. Like, they don't even, they just don't know. And that is the culture of when you're actually on the plane sitting. Somehow, if you're in the aisle and your middle seat and window seat are so empty, why are you buckling your seat and getting cozy when you know you're going to get up in 2 seconds for those two people to come sit next to you?
The same. I mean, okay, seatbelts, armrests, and table trays. These are all to be democratized and share across the aisle.
Yes.
If we're expecting to do this politically, we can't even do it on an airplane. It's ridiculous.
It is so ridiculous. And then you always have that person or those people who were not very organized when it came to booking their flights, right? I usually book my flights a couple of weeks, if not longer in advance. I book my seats, I get ready to go. You have those people who are like, we'll switch seats with people when we get on the plane.
Oh, the barter, the seat barter, and then like the sad story of like, but my son and y'all, come on, I planned too.
I plan to, and all of a sudden, Karen, I'm in 3A. You're trying to negotiate me to take 14B in the back, which is the middle seat. Where's the negotiation? Throw some cash
Yeah,
in. Give me
yeah,
something.
yeah. Throw some cash in. I'm gonna need some extra pack of peanuts and an unlimited drinking credit card. So get on it, Karen.
Literally. And so then that also disrupts things. And then they close the door and the plane's moving. And somehow the stewardess gets on and says, everyone, please be in your seat while the plane's moving. And I'm like, I look around and there are people standing up. And I'm like, what? What? I don't understand it.
I don't either. I do before we move on, I do want to take just a second to say that amongst all this chaos, sometimes there are some like really beautiful moments because it could be oddly beautiful. Just the random acts of kindness sometimes that you see. I mean, they're very rare and they are few, but I think that like passing bags or helping others or like someone like making space, like it is a tiny glimpse of humanity doing its best in basically a metal
Yeah,
tube. But I do want to make a little space because it does exist. And I try to be that person, by the way. I try to find opportunities to make things a little bit smoother and easier for those who are
likewise.
just having a little bit harder time. If I'm a big man, I'm 6'1", Brian. If somebody's struggling with a bag, I'm going to say, do you need help? I'm not going to go to grab it, but I'm going to ask if they need help. So there I
Yeah.
am.
What if they say yes? And you're like, okay, cool. Just was wondering.
And if anybody was curious at the beginning of this episode about what was going to change the airline industry, it's just when I'm on an airplane. If you're on an airplane with me, the airline industry has changed. That's all. I just want to be clear.
I make it
It
more
wasn't.
fun.
It wasn't that groundbreaking. Yeah, I bring the.
I remember, to your point of random acts of kindness, I was flying to San Diego earlier this year, and I was in the first row behind first class, right? The one that got the curtain thrown in your face when they take off. Because those 6 seats in the front need their privacy. Um, and the first row doesn't have armrests that move, so like each seat is like, you can't like lay across it flat if you wanted to. So it was just me and an older lady. She was probably like in her 70s, 80s. I would say late 80s, to be honest. And she was in the window seat. But right when we took off, she moves to the middle seat. Now, mind you, I was about to have the middle seat open. I'm flying cross country. That would have been great. And she's like, oh, I'm more comfortable in the middle seat. Do you mind? I can't say no to that. She's 80 something, right? But then saying yes to her sitting in the middle seat meant that she was now my best friend. How do you turn on my Wi Fi? How can I get this done? Can you hold my seat for the bathroom? All these things. Then this was the kicker, Jon, and this is why I like to be nice to people. She was flying to San Diego because her son was in hospice dying.
Oh my heart.
Right. And so I was like, I am so happy that I was your pleasure for the day because she was literally flying to say bye to her son. And I was like, oh my God, what else do you need? I'll rub your feet.
She connected with you because you were sort of her, like almost like a version of her son that she was saying goodbye to. What a beautiful story! Wow, this is why it's so important for us to like hold our tongues just a little bit. But then the plane lands, and then we have to get off the damn thing, and this brings on a whole nother side of everybody else. The stand-up stampede, I like to call it.
Well, yes, the stand up stampede because sometimes, well, more often than not now, planes are taking off later and later, not on time. And there's a lot of people that need to make their connection. So they make an announcement, you literally 15 minutes before landing, saying, if you do not have a connection, sit in your fucking seat and don't get up. What happens when we land? Everyone's like, I don't care. I'm still going to get up. You have people in the aisle screaming, can I get out of here? I have a connection. People are like, I don't have any space to move. And it's just like, if you just stayed in your fucking seat.
And then you can see it on the people's faces who are lying.
Yeah.
The like those are the same people who like follow an ambulance on the highway. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I know you're cheating.
Yeah, I know you're not connecting to Italy. Like I see what you're wearing. Oh,
And don't you also though like go there and be like, what could be my excuse? Do I have to get off quickly? Like, well, I'm good. I have a show at like 8 o'clock. My flight's at 6. There's no way I'm gonna make it. I mean, you know what I mean? Or lands at 6 rather. I don't know. Like, do you go through like this like weighing of options in your head of like what can I say to get off this plane faster? But no, you're right. There are people who need to get off these planes faster.
but I agree with you. It goes back to my original point on checking your seat number. All of a sudden, when they're like, only stand up if you have a connection, a part of me is like, let me check my ticket. Maybe I do have a connection.
Even though you know you're landing at your destination.
If
Maybe,
it's you
maybe
check your,
I.
you know. So it's
That's
like
so great.
maybe I do. And if you believe it, then is it really a lot? So
No,
I think
I'm
it's so
convinced.
funny.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I also think it's so funny when It's such a system to get off a plane. You get off, everyone in that one row goes, and the next row, then the next row.
Well, before you do
We,
that, before you go to, I just want to do
oh,
the sound, the first part before that. When, if I feel like as a society, if we ever want to do something in unison, just play that sound of the seatbelt like
yes.
sign going off. Because
Dude.
like the minute like yeah, it doesn't matter where you are on the airplane, you stand up as if you're about to just like roll off the thing. Okay, that's all I want to say. I don't know where everyone thinks we're going, but like we all need to get off the plane, and we saw how long it took for everyone to get on the plane. Anyway, I
It's like,
digress.
no, it's true. Like the moment the plane lands, like half the cabin stands up immediately, like as if they're like some prize to be the first person to stand in the aisle, right? Like everyone's like jumping. And then especially if people
Oh,
over 40 are doing it, it's like, but you can't even get off the plane for like 20 minutes. Why are you in such a rush?
or the
Um,
ones behind you who are putting the pressure on. You're like, I just so we're clear, I go first, okay? Like that's how this works.
I have a connection.
No, this is we're past the connection. I'm talking about just regular deplaning now. Like that's where the hunger planes comes out. You know what I mean?
And we never really talked about this in the big boarding the plane. This also happens like deep thing. The amount of humanity that goes out the window because people just bump into you. Their bags, their bodies, and they just don't have any idea like how their backpack settled on their back. So it's like just hitting you like every aisle. People are so rude when it comes to like bumping their stuff. And they're like, oh sorry. And you're like, yeah, no,
I'm really glad you bring this up. I'm really glad you bring this up. I have to ask you because
yes,
I'm this way. Are you mindful of that? Like when you're on an airplane, are you like making sure your bags are in center of you, like they're not like banging and you're not like,
I am
flailing your wings?
so mindful. I even when I board, I turn my carry-on sideways so it goes down the aisle long ways so it doesn't touch anyone.
Okay, because I've had the same thoughts that you've had, where I'm just
Yes,
like, are there that many people in the world who are just like flagrantly just walking around like as if they're just like owning all the space?
they just don't care.
It's frustrating.
And it's always the ones in
Plus,
group five.
it's always group five. That's where Karen's at, you know?
That's Karen and her big bags thinking that she's going to get her 2 carry-ons and her 4 bags into that overhead, even though she is group five. And then she yells when there's no space. And then she's the one that taps on you, asking you to switch seats with her.
She also put her bag up by seat 3 because that's where there was an availability, but she's sitting back at row 3 and she's sitting back at like row 28. And like right when the seatbelt light goes off, she's asking somebody to like get her back
And not even get her bag, but to pass it.
and pass it back.
Like, it's everyone has to get on a plane with a carry, and I agree. And Karen's also the one
But
like sleeps in the aisle, so you can't get over her to pee, and she has her pillow up. But when the stewardess passes her to not give a drink because she gets mad.
absolutely. And this woman,
This, this,
we
this.
should have never let her on the plane. But this is a lot of American travel, and not that it's not the same globally, but like
Mhm.
there are some like parts of the world that like double penetrate. I like the double penetration plane where they board the
Same.
front and the back. Like I love that shit so much. But I feel like either way, the dice is rolled, or either way, I don't have a good airplane pun here, but it's messy, it's inefficient. But it's like one of the only like modes of transportations that like only has one stop. So everybody has to get on and off at the same time, like a boat,
Uh-huh.
unlike a train or a bus. So it's gonna be kind of shitty. But you
Yep.
know, navigating that shit doesn't hold up, but it's fun to watch.
This is why you and I should start flying private, John. Honestly.
I love flying privates all the time. It doesn't matter. I like big planes, small planes, if you follow my drift. Flying privates is the way to
Size
fly.
doesn't matter.
Kind of. I mean, you're not getting to London in a rowboat, but you know, we can well
Well, to everyone
do you
out
have any
there who's,
flights coming?
yeah, I do actually. And now I'm actually upset about it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm flying to
You're flying to
Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Yeah, I'm flying to Tokyo in a couple of weeks. But thankfully, I'm in the front of the plane and I will be in my own little seat. Thanks.
Sounds good. Can we do a Shokyo from Tokyo?
Yeah, I'll even do some content for my seat so everyone can see how lush it is, you know? Lush? Isn't that plants?
Buckle up, baby. Talk to you
Buckle
soon.
up,
Talk to you
baby.
later.
Bye.
This was Out Loud and Laughing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We're available everywhere you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or wherever.